Hello, hello, welcome to the Awdid. This is your host today, Pertis Williams. And again, we're going to be doing a special addition to the Awdid. We're going to be making some adjustments from the Awdid to a journey into mental health. So today we're not going to take a whole lot of your time up. We're going to be kind of brief. I have my therapist on the call in with me. He's going to jump in with video chat. We have Mr. Warner Buxton. I'm going to have to let him pronounce his last name for you. But I'm going to judo it up right now. But that's my dude, Warner. We're going to bring him on in real quick because we're going to try and talk about a journey into mental health and how it affects men like ourselves, big dudes, that letting you know sometimes we have bad days too. So let's go ahead and bring Warner in. We don't want to hold him up. I'm appreciating the fact that he took the time out of his busy schedule to join us today. Mr. Warner, how you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing great, Curtis, man. Good to see you, man. I'm glad to be on here.
Man, it's great to have you, dude. You have to know that I've gone through a few challenging years over the past few years. I'm sure like most people went through the pandemic, a lot of ups and downs. Warner has been helping me get through that. Like I said, a lot of times people who may look like me don't go and find mental health therapy. We try and go and find a bottle or find a church to go to. And a lot of times you have to remember the mechanic changes brakes. He doesn't do mental health. Just like the preacher isn't your therapist. That's just from my experience. The preacher needs to be preaching, not counseling. So again, Warner, tell the people a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background and how you got started on the journey into mental health.
Well, kind of started, like I said, I did a variety of different things, but what I found out, my main goal is counseling, caring about people. So a good counselor is someone who just really cares about people. And I kind of got into counseling because I was working in different businesses, working in actually casino business, casino management for years, and didn't like what I did, like the money, but didn't really care about the the whole atmosphere and the whole setup of being in the private industry. But what I did really care about was sitting down and talking to the young men who work for me, and the young ladies who work for me, and just really, just talking into their lives. And so my wife kind of, she was going into teaching. She kind of suggested I try counseling, got in and kind of fell in love with it, felt like it's my calling. And most counselors are kind of like teachers. They're called. It's not a thing where you just want to do it, but it's a call. So mental health is a big thing, man. Mental health is a big thing that's plaguing all communities, especially minorities, not just minorities as far as color, but also minorities as far as men getting counseling. That's a minority in the counseling field. So.
Right. And that's a big deal. And I know that you and I have discussed. I can't hear him. Is he still going? Can you hear me, Warner? Okay, because I saw. Oh, you know what? My bad. I'm watching the feed, which is a delay instead of listening. I thought you dropped out. I saw your mouth still moving. But again, we're getting used to this transition. My first time doing the call in, so you guys work with me. But like Warner and I talk about in my therapy sessions, the rarity of men who come in and try and get help. But when you look at the statistics on suicide, who has the highest number of suicide, Warner?
It's men. Yeah, mostly it's men. Men has highest, because a lot of times with men is the affected by disappointment and hopelessness. And when a person gets to a point where they need suicide, usually they're in a situation where they feel everything is hopelessness. And if you take it to the, like I said, minorities, people, BIPOC people of color, a lot of times they're kind of undertrodden. So a lot of times they feel there's no hope. There's no hope in society. There's no hope in the world. And if they don't have a kind of spiritual background or anything like that, a lot of times they don't. And so if they're not getting help, they're not going to the pastor, they're not going to any help. And a lot of times the only option they feel is suicide, which is a sad thing, and it affects the whole family.
Yeah, it really does. And that's something that we're not addressing as a nation is the fact that men are going through things. You hear a whole lot of women help groups, women help this, women support groups, women. But when we look at the real numbers, the men are the ones who are suffering and paying the price for the lack of mental health care in this country. So we want to bring that to the forefront. I want to be one of the first people who say, hey, big dudes, strong men, we have problems too. And sometimes we need somebody to talk to who can relate to us. So it was important for me going through the pandemic, going through a couple of more things, and trying to find grounding once again was not just to give up, but to reach out. And luckily, God did what God do, and I ran into Werner. So I just want him to really tell you more about how to get in touch with mental health, as he knows some of the avenues to reach out to some of the venues, some of the groups, support groups possibly, as well as we're going to be taking calls in the next few shows. So you'll have a chance to kind of vent with us about your situation. So what are some of the places they can go and possibly seek some therapy, Werner?
Okay, it's several different places. Like I said, if you got insurance, you can always go to your insurance company and then contact them and ask them. And a lot of times, a lot of it's covered now. And if you can get private insurance, and then you may be able to talk to, and then you can go up with somebody who's up under your umbrella. And then if you don't have insurance, you also can go to the community mental health, and they're in every place. So they got different regions. And you can go to a community health place, and then they can set you up. Now, you're not going to see them as often as you see somebody else, but usually they have a sliding scale where they'll be able to see you. And so every community has it, and you can call them. And they also have crisis lines, okay? And so a lot of times if you're going through something, or somebody in your family is going through something, they have a crisis line. So crisis mental health or crisis. A lot of times people don't know. And if you ever have a time where you don't know and you got like somebody's having a mental breakdown, you can always contact 911, call them, and they'll be able to get you to a crisis like that. Also, and then we'll probably have the number for Pertis to be able to put online, and it's like a 1-800 crisis line, and they will come out to you. They'll come out to you and maybe to get that help, and then after that you can kind of, see about getting into a regular session.
Yeah. Now, me personally, one of the places I recommend, because a lot of people may not know that they have a desire to drink every time they run into a problem. And that can create a whole nother set of problems. So when we have those mad days, those bad days, or even those happy occasions, a lot of us will run to the bottle. And we're not really paying attention to how much that is affecting our personal life. Myself included, just found out that you need to stay away from alcohol because it's terrible for you. So I was able to find some group therapy, which Werner and I have talked about, whereas you, instead of doing individual, you do it in a group session, and you start to pull that strength and hope and experience from the other people in the group. And in that session, I found that being so many people involved, you start to hear stories that make you feel like, well, maybe I'm not the only one who's tripped and fell down. Maybe I'm not the only one who's did this and that. And maybe my story is not so bad compared to someone else's story. So the depression you feel, the disgust you might feel with yourself, and the hopelessness, you kind of get in that group therapy, and there are so many people who've been through similar things. It's a little bit different than that one-on-one. And I just want Werner to tell you what he thinks about it, because I actually like group therapy myself,
Oh yeah. Well, group therapy is awesome, man. It's one of the best things. When we was in school, we did it, and I didn't want to do it. Was kind of against group therapy. Then next thing I know, when I was in there, and I was like, "Hey, I'm telling all my deepest desires and my hurt and my pain." And a lot of times, when somebody shares it, a lot of times when you're going through those things, you think you're the only one. And like up and being transparent and saying you feel like more like you have some, you have support, and that's what it does. And then also, when you have a group of peers like AA or NA, what they do is that they kind of hold you accountable. And peers kind of what they do. They kind of follow the group, and so that's what's awesome about it.
Now, I know you mentioned that accountability. Now, I know how much that's a big deal in therapy. And for me, the accountability comes so fast in those groups, especially like your AA, your NAs. The accountability doesn't come so fast in the one-on-one pay sessions. However, in those group sessions, I'm going to just tell you now, people, those folks are not trying to hear your mess. They not trying to hear those stories, your lies, your sneaky deaky, underhanded, I think I'm smarter than everybody stuff. Tell them, Warner, those folks, they not playing around. They serious about that recovery. They serious about your mental health, and they are serious about helping. And they don't play when it comes to those I didn't mean to's. They like, well, you still did. And they hold you accountable.
They check you because they've been there. You know what I mean? They're gonna check you, and that's a good thing. That's what it's called. Peer support is really good because we do a thing in where I counsel it, and it's called peer support. And peers check each other. You know what I'm saying? What's so awesome about that? And so that's a good, that's like a support group. They've been through it. They've been there. They know what you're feeling. They know when you're dodging. They know when you're lying. Or they'll tell you, hey, you just want to use. So it's an awesome thing. Different ways.
It is, and like I said, it's my favorite therapy. Even though I'm still going individually, I still will visit the group and try and keep that connection going because you never know who you're able to help either, and that's another thing is I'm helping me by going to individual therapy, but going to group therapy, you're able to help more people. So that's one of the reasons why I love it. So we're going to get ready to pay some bills because, that's one of the things we have to do. And we're going to take a small commercial break, and we're going to be right back with the Awdid and the journey into mental health with our guest Werner today, my therapist, great guy. We're going to keep it moving, and we'll be right back, guys.
Are you dreaming? Becoming an entrepreneur, but you're not sure where or how to start? At Entrepreneurs Academy 101, our online program will guide you step by step on how to start and grow your own business. We offer courses such as how to write a business plan, how to create a budget, and so much more. Our online training program is designed for you to learn at your own pace, and there's no set order to complete this program. Because our academy is online, you have the choice to learn with a group, with friends, or individually. Upon completion of the entire curriculum, you will receive a certificate of achievement to acknowledge that you have completed the training needed to become a successful entrepreneur. So enroll today to design the life that you love. Contact your entrepreneur coach, Brenda Myers, at 601-672-0695 or visit our website at www.entrepreneursacademy101.com for more information. Are you dreaming of becoming
Have you had your Earth Blend coffee today? At Earth Blend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earth Blend Coffee.
To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Pertis Williams, your host again here at the We Believe Digital Studios in Jackson, Mississippi. We're here on Livingston Road, and don't forget, get you some of this Earth Blend coffee. Is that right there? Mm-hmm. It's beautiful, it's delicious, it's the freshest coffee that you can find in the area. And again, we're doing a journey into mental health today. I have my guest with me, Werner. I'm not gonna judo your last name again, sir, but Buxton. All righty. All right. And again, he's my therapist. Like I said, yes, I go to therapy. We're going to remove those stigmas about men in therapy, about people in general in therapy. We are not perfect people, and we are not expected to carry all this weight by ourselves. And since the world has become this individualized, keeping my peace kind of place, we've run into a whole lot of mental health issues. And I want to be the ones who one of the people who knock those walls down. So I have Werner with me. And Werner, just kind of real quick, what do you think about the amount of people reaching out now for mental health? Have those numbers gone up, down? How is it looking right now?
Well, lately, man, it has really, really grown as far as the need for mental health. And people are just being aware of it. I think the more people talk about it, the more people are getting it. They realizing that, especially in the South, we always had a stigma about it. With the South, we have this thing about keeping our personal business personal and not saying anything. But people are realizing that people are hurting. People are experiencing a lot of trauma. People are hurt and they're in pain and they're in different ways. People are they're going to other things. They're realizing those things don't have a lasting effect. And so, mental health is picking up a lot. We're getting a lot more. We're just getting rid of the stigma. And that's my goal, is to get rid of the stigma. That's why I go on casts like these. That's why I talk to people about these things all the time, because people are hurting. And what happened, hurt people. When we don't deal with it, we pass that on to our children, pass it on to generations, and it becomes unfood business. One day.
Man, and you brought up a big deal right there, the children. And that's one of the big things where I'm like, if we don't do something now about how we're dealing with mental health issues, then our children are going to be affected tremendously going forward. It's not getting better, people. It's getting worse. So it's time for us to say, hey, let us get some help. I was watching a video on Instagram, I think, the other day, and this guy was talking to his son, and he was telling his son, what's wrong with you and your sister? I don't know what's wrong with y'all. Y'all out here wilding out and doing kind of crazy stuff and just not getting it together. And so the son told him, he said, well, what do you think we were going to be like watching you and mom drinking and doing drugs in front of us when we were little kids playing on the floor? Those things those children remembered. And so the father was sitting there like, wow, y'all remember that, and now you're imitating it. You're repeating that cycle. And so what we've been doing, I know myself, is like I have a bad day and I'll run and try and go get some liquor. That's not helping. Run and go and do some drugs. That's not going to help you. Running and doing something outlandish just to take your mind off of what's really bothering you doesn't help. And the young people around, they see us, and those things affect them. So I want to ask Werner, how young are you seeing clients coming in, and what effects their childhood traumas are showing up now as an adult?
Well, that's a big thing. It's so, when we talk about addiction is young as 12 years old, 10 years old as far as drug addiction, and that has to do with trauma. But like mental health, it's different ages. You can't really give a mental health diagnosis until that certain age, like 12, 13 years old when they start having that. But the mental health is there. And one of the biggest things is not being aware of it. And a lot of times, especially like in the South and in people of color, is that they don't talk about it. So we don't know what was on mom's side or dad's side, what they were dealing with. And so it has a way of showing up later. And so that's the biggest thing is the awareness of it, and not just somebody's giving their opinion about what they think is wrong with a person.
Now, that opinion thing, that's usually coming from those friends, right?
Friends or old thoughts, or people thinking I deal with this all the time. It's about they're going somewhere and somebody putting something in their drink. I hear that all the time, and a lot of times it's them not being aware that they have a mental health illness on both sides of their family, or on one side of their family. They got a bipolar, they got schizophrenia. And so it occurs between 20 and 25. And usually that's the time when people go off to college. And something about, I don't know what it is, marijuana. I don't know if it loosens the inhibitions. I haven't did a study on it, case study on it. But something about when they do that it kind of brings that mental illness to the forefront. And a lot of times what we hear in our community all the time, they went to college, somebody put something in their drink and then they had a mental breakdown. The more I study it and I look at cases, more than likely it's that they have bipolar or they have schizophrenia in their family, and that's when it presents. So
Wow.
That's that thing, that's that opinion, and I tell people it's not that many people putting stuff in drinks in the world, and they're not going to do it just for certain people. But if I look at that age, it never fails to be between 20 and 25.
Wow. So you're kind of when I know when I talk to you, you researching some and giving me some statistics about something you've already looked at and laid out. So how many times am I arguing with you when you got those numbers and those facts? But you just kind of put something on my mind, whereas a lot of people want to say somebody put something in their drink. A lot of people want to blame it on something else. And what you're saying is those things are starting to show up around 20, in those 25 years in college. So, I'll go on record and say, hey, I've had a couple of drinks, mixed them, blacked out. And it crossed my mind somebody put something in my drink, but that's not what happened. That was too drunk mixing drinks. So a lot of times we want to blame somebody else, but you're saying these things are starting to show up in the young adults 20-25 era, and it's just, that's a normal thing.
The mental health, those things, they present themselves at a certain age. That's when schizophrenia, bipolar presents itself, if it's in your family. And a lot of times we're not aware of that. That's the biggest thing with the stigma, is that we're not aware. We don't know our mental health history. We don't know it. We're always talking about knowing the sexual history now, this thing, that's a big thing. But we don't know the mental health history. That's what we really need to be looking at as well. The mental health history of our parents. A lot of times we don't know that. So we need to know that if mama, granddaddy, they was taking nerve pills or something else was going on.
So not communicating these things to our children is another problem. So the division in the family, big deal. So, like I said, he's helping me out. He is at work, and we appreciate it. Hey man, well, hey, we almost about to wrap it up, and I know you busy, and I appreciate you taking the time to join me today, because it was like last minute, because we were supposed to do something last week. But again, anytime you can take out of your busy schedule to come and join me on the Awdid journey into mental health, I appreciate it, dude, 100%.
Yeah, I love to talk about it, man. Love to, it's just to kind of educate. That's one of the jobs as a counselor. We're supposed to educate, and we're supposed to help, we're supposed to advocate for things that's going on. And so I just want to see us, get help, man. I want, especially dad and trauma, man. Trauma is a big thing, and trauma is passed on, and rejection and all that. So many things they can do.
Right.
But if we, what counseling does, if we don't do anything else, it makes us aware. At the end of the day, it's still, you have to still do those steps, but it brings that awareness, so you can know. Same way if you got diabetes, right? You got diabetes, and you don't know it. You go around, you still eating all these bad foods, and now you don't know why your feet swelling up, or why your knees hurt, or why you're feeling so bad. But once you go to the doctor and they tell you got diabetes, now you're aware of it. And once you're aware of it, now you have a choice. You know what I'm saying? And so it's about giving you a choice. That's what counseling does.
Well, man, we sure appreciate you joining us today and giving some of these choices to the people and letting them know that, hey, everybody laying on the couch talking to a therapist is not what you see on TV. Sometimes they look like me laying on that couch needing to talk to somebody, because it's important that we continue to move forward, people, and that we don't give up on ourselves and each other. So we want to thank you again, Warner, for every second of your time today. And I know you're busy. You got a lot of people to go save and help out. So, man, I'm going to let you go. And again, I'm probably going to do something Friday too, man. So if you in the vicinity, holla at your boy. I'm going to be cooking that. I'm going to be firing this grill up, helping my mental health being outside and getting some sunlight and seeing these birds and breathing some of this fresh air while we can, because we've been locked in that house for so long. I'm just going to get out here and enjoy it. I know that affects my mental health. So Werner, before you leave, how you want to close it out? Any information you want to give them? Anything you want to let them know?
Well, I just want to know that, hey, you're not crazy, you know what I'm saying, just because you're getting mental health. You know what I'm saying? You need to see about it. You need to see about yourself. You need to deal with yourself here. You know, a lot of people dealing with their bodies and they're trying to do their finances and all that stuff like that, but you need to deal with, you know, your mental health. You need to deal with what's going on so that you don't pass those things to the next generation. And also you'll live a more productive life, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I hate to see when I hear about people, you know, having suicide or homicide. Don't wait till it get too late to start working on, you know, yourself. Okay? That's my point.
Hey, I think you said enough right there. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you again for joining this edition of The Awdid. Werner, many thanks, brother. And I will see you on Tuesday for our session. You know the alarm going to go off and I'm going to get the email. But again, thank you so much for joining me. And guys, get ready. You're going to see us a lot more. We're going to keep this thing going. We're going to be taking some phone calls in. If you have any problems, stress, headaches, give us a call here. We believe 1-800-492-5186. And I'll do what I can to put you in the right direction for some mental health. Even Werner, if he's available, maybe who you need to see. Highly recommended from me. Definitely. So guys, we thank you again for joining this episode of The Awdid. We'll catch you on the flip side. See you next week.